So for the code part, instead of reinventing the wheel, I'm just going to copy all this and paste it into a new window. Okay. So I'm going to do Control A for select all, and then Control C for copy. I'm going to create a new here. Then I'm going to Control V for paste. Right. Then what I'm going to do is just delete these two things and then re-push my buttons to get the stuff that I need. Okay. So now I'm going to add in the part of the code. So if I did all that, abracadabra, boom, here I am. All right. So the code looks like this. So I'm going to make a little bit of changes because I know in order to go to the 3 o'clock position, that's 250. So I've already did my experiment. To go to 12 o'clock, that's 750, right? And then to go to 9 o'clock, it's going to be 1250. So now what happens, and this code is a little bit different than what I showed in class. So I start at the top, and everything between this do and this loop is going to repeat forever. And I'm missing the loop, so I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Cool. So everything between the do and the loop is going to go on forever. This pause just gives me a little bit of time to push the button. Now, when I push the button each time, I'm going to increase the value of counter by 1. So this time, unlike what I said in the class, we're going to go up to 6. What happens when we ran the code in the class, and thanks to Charvadi, that she tested the code, and when she tested it, it works, but when you ran it, you had to hold down the button to get it to iterate. And that's because as the code was written, when it was equal to 1, it'll always enter this one thing, this one part of the loop. So now the code is written such that when we push the button the first time, right? So you push the button, counters iterated, and the value is equal to 1. Right? And so it says, hey, is counter equal to 6? No, let's skip this part. Is counter equal to 1? Yes. And then it'll print out to the screen, rotate to the 3 o'clock position. Then it rotates. Then within this if statement, I'm going to increase counter equal to 2. So now when I come down here and it says, hey, is counter is equal to 3? No, skip. Is counter equal to 4? No, I'm going to skip that. Then I hit my loop. I'll go all the way back up to the top. Has the button been pushed? No, we haven't pushed the button. So counter is now equal to 2, right? So that doesn't run. And now it stops running. And so it doesn't keep trying to go to the 3 o'clock position. The energy to the motor is cut off. Now when I push the button again, because counter is equal to 2, it's going to go to the value of 3. It's going to rotate to the 12 o'clock position. Then it's going to iterate the value to 4. And then it's going to stop, and it's just waiting. And then you have 5, and so on. And then when we get to 6, if the value is equal to 6, it's going to reset it all at 0. So now I'm going to upload this code to my board. So I'm going to slide the board into the number 2 position. Come to my code, push upload. For here, I'm running a Windows system. You guys are running Chrome. So yours is download. And then, oh, I have something, unrecognized character. I made a mistake. In some programming languages, you have to put the semicolon at the end of each line. That's just a carryover. I know how to code in many different languages. So the syntax is a little different. So this, why we chose this is because the syntax for P Basic is uber forgiving, and it told me specifically what was wrong when I had an error. So I'm going to try run again, and it said loop must be preceded by do. So I don't know what happened because there's a do here, right? Loop must be preceded by do. So now I'm going through here and trying to see what's going on. Boom, boom, variable iteration, and I shouldn't have any other loops. Oh, I have 2. All right. So that loop that I added, I didn't need to add. It was already there. And you can just see it was way down below on my screen. Okay. So now this should run. So I hit run. And you see it's being compiled. It's being sent to the board. So nothing's going on here. Now, well, one thing when I worked with Charvadi, because before I didn't have anything debugging to the window. So nothing's happening. Now I know exactly what's happened. When I push the button, right? Let's see here. Now I'm gonna keep working through this on this debug. All right, so here I have my code reading pin 3. I actually have my button plugged into pin 0. So what I'm going to do is go through here on my code and change this to 0 because I didn't test this part out. I didn't do a button test, right? So I can either change this to 0 or move the pin to pin 3. So I rerun this again. It's being ran. I come over here to push my button, right? So let's look at what the debug does. So I push the button, it tells me the counter is equal to 1 and that the servo motor should be in the 3 o'clock position, which it is, right? So I come over here, push the button again. It should rotate to the 2 o'clock position, and it told me, hey, I rotated to the 12 o'clock position. I said 2 o'clock before. I rotated to the 12 o'clock position, and the rotation is complete. So now I have it in the code so that when it does the rotation, it tells me exactly what it's doing and when it's done. So now I know it's safe to push the button. Because if I'm trying to push the button during a rotation sequence, it's not going to read that. So now I can push the button. When I push the button again, it should rotate to the 9 o'clock position. And which it did. You can see it says 9 o'clock. And that code is wrong. Why? Because down here I copied and pasted instead of retyping the code. So now I can go through here and type 9 o'clock, right? And this is what you want to do. You want to write the code. You're going to make mistakes. I could easily delete this video and run it with everything perfect. But you need to know, even professionals at this make mistakes. You're not going to get it right the first time. You got to keep trying, okay? So now I re-upload this code. Right, so now it's uploading again. I come over here, it's just waiting. That's what's going on in the do loop. Nothing's happening, and nothing's ever going to happen until I push the number 1 button, right? Or until I push the button. So I push the button for the first time, boom, it rotated to 3 o'clock. It says, hey, rotating to 3 o'clock, rotation complete. Now, so you can see this, I'm gonna push the button again. Push the button again, rotate to 12 o'clock, rotation sequence is complete. Push the button again, rotate to 9 o'clock, and then the sequence is complete. Now, if I push the button again, what should happen is it should rotate to the 3 o'clock, right? So I'm not going to hit reset or anything. It's in the 9 o'clock, and you see that. So I'm going to push the button, and it rotated to the 3 o'clock, and it says 3 o'clock, and it's going to keep cycling through that. Now what I can do is play around with different things, right? Do I like the time it takes that I have to hold the button down for? Do I like the format of the screen, right? Do I want it to constantly be scrolling? Or do I want it just to appear what's going on here, right up here at the very top? I can play around with that. But now the basic functionality is done, and I can say at least this prototype and design cycle for this particular thing is over with.